After 3 wins on the trot, Ross the Boss's Saints are finally earning some accolades thanks to some starring forward displays from Jack Higgins, who isn't a fan of Adelaide. Three teams head to South Australia desperate to avoid a 5th successive loss, with a defeat to the Eagles might just means the Blues decide to toss the Boss. The Suns are rolling out a pink Guernsey. There's some actual weapons at the G, and once again the Crows are robbed right in front of me, Joey. This is Triple M at Footy's Midweek Rub. All roads lead to Gather Round, and all 4 of us are headed along. Joey Montagna, St Kilda superstar.
Right in front of me. Yes, looking forward to it. I can't wait to get over to Adelaide, and there's plenty of storylines going on, but it's going to be a fun few days, I think.
A man who's already got the merch from the first ever Gather Round on his head, Daisy Thomas.
Also very excited, and I look forward to the storylines that come out of Gather Round, more off-field than on-field. There's a couple of big events that everybody attends, and then some fun times, so I look forward to that.
And the man who's just now known as Damo, Damien Barrett's.
Rabsy, Joey, Days. A couple of changes too in the Triple M programming on the weekend too with Gather Round. You're coming on the Friday huddle.
I'll be joining the Friday
Joey,
huddle.
And
yes.
I just heard then that Daisy's going to make his Triple M debut in hosting Sunday.
Yes,
right?
he'll take over.
Yeah.
Well, now that Jay-Z was the vice captain, and he was the one that would always try and jump in if Brownie couldn't host.
Right.
But now we've lost our vice captain, so we're starting to head down the pecking order a bit.
love it.
I also look forward to the fact that obviously could have been yours, but Joey's planning on having a bit of a fun on Saturday night. In terms of working hard and then putting your head in the book.
Is that with the St Kilda Mafia?
I was going to say my wife could be listening, but she doesn't listen to us. So she won't be listening. I'm doing the Barossa game early Saturday afternoon, and
maybe just
sort of free for a couple of hours after about 4 p.m.
Just quickly on Jay-Z, we already know he's bought the Mercedes.
Yeah.
First 2 years of Gather Round, he wasn't allowed to go. Now he's the chief. He is, I think, already in Adelaide.
I've already heard he's chumming up to Peter Malinowskis as we speak, having brekkie with him and having lunch. And, Jay-Z will be right in his element.
I've been given the text from Jay-Z a couple of times for us to stop picking on him. He's taking things personal, so we need to stop this.
But you made him. You gave him the
I'm aware
profile
of
that
that.
he required to get the gig.
He's now not aware of that, and he thinks he's bigger than it.
Yep.
He's there Thursday night, still part of the Thursday Rub, or is he too big for that?
No, he's there, part of the Thursday Rub, ahead of Adelaide versus Geelong at Adelaide Oval.
Ditched the rush hour, hasn't he, at one stage?
Rush hour's gone. Sunday's gone.
Sunday's
too.
gone.
Yeah.
Who is the biggest, and you've been to these functions a few times, what sort of pecking order does it roll in?
Yeah.
'Cause it's all media types, it's all written
It's
press.
interesting. Now it's the 3rd year. I think there's a bit of lethargy kicking in, as in you then can pick and choose. But first year it was a free for all as to who wanted to be the big king or queen in the room. But last year it dropped away a little bit, and I think there's a clash of a few event clashes this year, which is also.
Is it the big AFL function today where they all go to McGill Estate?
Yeah, tonight. Yep.
Is that the one that Tom Morris didn't get let in last year?
I think it was that
That
one.
was
But he
the
somehow
one.
talked
Didn't he
his way
sneak in or something? He just talked his
there
way
was
in and rocked up. There was no seat for him, and he
Some
just
frustration
that was the one.
invited
That was the
himself.
between tables and the pecking order of tables who had the Saint Henri, the RWT, and then maybe a bit of grain.
There's a
jumping
bit of
at the
graves going on
points.
table one, yes. Clubs listen to this show, don't they?
Yes.
The
And they
Western
do
Bulldogs
for
in
the
particular.
motive. Yes, that was last year. And well, they're listening this year for another reason. Our man Joey,
Yeah.
because they're finding they're getting motivation.
Whatever he says, they are taking and just using it for the fire, just to fuel that fire to find a way to win.
Yep.
It started with the Saints the other week when you were,
Put it
scared.
on them.
And rightfully so. You were worried. I was worried. I was going to that game. You said you're leaving at halftime with Noah.
I said I was.
St Kilda versus Geelong at Marvel Stadium.
I'm taking young Noah to this one, and poor fella, he's not going to like what he sees. Cats will
Put him in a Cats jumper and he'll love it.
Might be on the early train at 3/4 time, Joey.
half time, I think. I'll stay till half time.
Have not lost since, Joey.
I'm
Have
fine
not lost since.
Exactly right. That was the motivation that they needed to keep the young fella on board. He's all for it now. And, Ross the Boss, isn't he just the right man for the job, Damo?
Oh, absolutely. The St Kilda Mafia's back. But now Essendon, they too, in the eyes of all of us, by the way, but Joey went hard on the midweek rub when he was talking about the rebuild.
I've picked up on this, and this is your go, the media stuff, but just seeing all the articles that have come out this week, how young they were and their rebuild, it's like clearly, you know what, it scars me? This happened to St Kilda, Scott Watter's second season. We went 12-10 the year before, we lost our first 2 games, and then round 3 came out, we're in a rebuild. And I remember sitting there going, what? Where'd this come from? Basically, the players are hearing, our club think this list isn't good enough. And that wears in on your psyche as a player.
Played one game since, won.
And then won. And I reckon they'll win again this week against Melbourne too. I think I've kick-started their season. A bit of a reality check for them. I like it.
And the one that the Hawthorn fans are sticking by, and we won't play it again because you were on the money and I was in agreement, but the 10-year rebuild has turned into 4.
Yeah, yes, that's right. That one was 2023, that comment. That one made out like it went last year because it got rehashed, didn't it?
Well, that's
the
only
They
a
love
year
doing that, the
before
Hawks
it.
supporters.
Yeah, they
I'm
do.
the same.
Yes, that's right. But no, they're very happy with how they're travelling, the Hawks.
They've won the flag last year, and
haven't
they're going
they?
back to back this year. Yeah,
they are.
Just ask them.
So, no, they're flying. Yeah, Gloria, thank you. Yeah, I'll have to try and find another club.
No, we're raising
If
as a
you could
positive.
happily just rinse the Blues this week, please, for the love of God,
Yes.
tell me Carlton can't win.
I think we can do that.
And you hate Collingwood, and they're 3-1 to start the year as well. Fair dinkum or Fugazi is coming up.
You do hate
Plus
Collingwood.
Your round 5 predictions, including Collingwood versus Sydney, who you do hate, Joey. But up next, it is Damo's News on Triple M Footy's Midweek Rub. All thanks to BWS, who are here with the right drinks, real cold, real close. See BWS website for store locations. Choose to drink wise. Big thanks to BWS for jumping on board the Midweek Rub. Make sure you choose to drink wise. Fair dinkum or Fugazi coming up next, and your round 5 predictions. But Damo, let's start with the Hawks. Some bad injury news with Will Day yesterday.
Shattering, Rabsy, yeah, because he missed the run into the finals and the finals last year for the Hawks and arguably cost them a prelim final, maybe even grand final berth by not being there because they got stopped short eventually by 3 points in the second week. And then we find out yesterday that he's now got another foot injury. Last year it was a shoulder that kept him out of those finals, but he has had a previously serious foot injury. It's another one now. It's a navicular. And I see when footy clubs say this could be a 3 to 4 month injury, this is now borderline that he doesn't play this year quite clearly from the very outset of the diagnosis publicly of it.
Is this same injury, navicular, that he had prior? Do we know that, whether it's a different injury or
Same
same
foot?
one? Same foot,
It is the
different.
same
Not
foot.
sure of...
Because that is a concern if it's something similar to what he's had, because we know how the naviculars can be troublesome for a long, like almost for the rest of his career potentially.
Because that was the issue before he finally got a crack at it and won a best and fairest.
Yeah.
And then he was smashed up again last year with other injuries and then the shoulder, which was a very serious damage to that shoulder. And they tried to, I suppose, explore the possibility of him coming back. But now they get to this stage. They're unbeaten after 4 matches this year, but they may have to now do whatever they intend to do this year without him. And at the very best, get him back for just on the eve of the finals, which is going to be a race against time, regardless of the time frame they ultimately settle on.
Is it just me, Daisy, or does it feel the same players have bad luck? Like there are some players that just for whatever reason, and it's not because their body breaks down, they're just sometimes other injuries, that it feels like some players get this all the time, injuries after injury, and poor Will Day is one of these players.
He is. Looking through the stats last night, he's only had 33 times, never had above 30. But looking at that, some players you go, oh, they have a heap of it. He's a real impact per possession player. He's 30 is equivalent to somebody else's 42. I wonder if the Hawks now, and obviously a little bit of time needs to pass, but if they're a month in and this isn't improving, I'd almost be close to saying put him on ice because this has to be a long-term play.
Too valuable.
If you rush him back and the same thing happens again and then he's slow to start, or it becomes career-threatening, as we've seen naviculars can be, I think you'd be certainly taking the long play in this one rather than trying to rush him back to the final.
Was Swanee in navicular?
It was in the end.
Was it?
I think the last one, was that a syndesmosis?
I think he had a Linz Frank.
Sorry, I think you're right.
But Matty Cruiser had a navicular that kept playing up, and obviously the bigger boys, Will Day is one of those, although he's a midfielder, he's 190 odd.
Well, Matty Egan never played again after the 2007 issue. Trent Crode, I think, was
and
that.
I heard James Hurd say it took him 3 years or something.
James Hurd did come back from it, but he missed that 99 season, which was 3 years after the Brownlow year and the year before the premiership year, but he missed that season after starting it
I think last year, Damo, the stat is with Will Day, they were 12-3, I think, the Hawks, and without him, 1-6 or something like that. So he's very important.
Yeah, no, he's a super player, and he was, I think, preparing to, be in the Brownlow medal count this year the way he was playing. Now, that same team, Hawthorn, plays the Port Adelaide team as the last game of gather round on Sunday night. The AFL has done this.
Get your bottle of Grange ready.
Yeah, I think so, because it is going to be built up, and it might be Port's last chance to resurrect itself this year, and it'd be so Kenny Hinkley, wouldn't it, to get this team up for this particular game. They're going to be underdogs in it, but the whole Ginnivan versus Ken Hinkley and Sicily getting involved and other players at Hawthorn holding Sicily back, it was pure theatre, dramatic theatre, and it gets its chapter 2 on Sunday night.
What did Kenny get fined for that?
Yeah, he did.
Was it 20?
20,000.
So the AFL should give him 50 back. So give him his 20 plus 30 for the eyes that are going to be on this and the marketing.
Yeah.
They've put it as the last game for a good reason.
Yeah.
This is must watch,
It was
regardless.
the same, that fine, just to remind people, was the same number they gave to Alistair Clarkson for using, as we know at the time, the homophobic language to the St Kilda players.
Similar to Jason McCartney for actually going in and abusing umpires
Yes.
in the locker room.
And all Kenny said was, hey, Guinea, you're not flying.
Yeah.
I mean, who cares? It's so that's my take on it. They've had their cake and they're eating it too, the AFL, not for the first time. They're having the sentence and the announcement and the statement being made, but also then using the furor out of it to market the game.
And it sets up perfectly because, as you said, this is really almost Port Adelaide's season on the line. Potentially Ken Hinkley's coaching on the line against the Hawks, who are flying, sitting pretty on top. So it has all the elements to it. And don't think for 1 second that if the Hawks do win or are winning late in the game and Guinea kicks a goal, he'll bring out the aeroplane celebration to really rub salt into the wound, which is going to send Port Adelaide fans, it's going to blow their heads off.
I know that as a coach, you say, no, we're not buying into it and we have to look past it. This is more than a game. But whoever's playing on Guinea, surely it is like a hard tag plus team defence and just belting. You've got to do what the fans want as much as anything, Joey, to show that.
Just for a bit of theatre, just
a
get stuck
bit
into
of every
first
time
tackle.
he walks, bang into him. So that's what I'll be expecting. I will be watching as well. Cannot wait.
fun.
Love it. Now, guys, just the AFL admitting quite early on Sunday after the Saturday game, the Gold Coast Adelaide Crows game, the controversial finish, the non-mark to Isaac Rankin, and then the non-free kick to it. Don't want to discuss about whether it was there or not there. I just want to ask you guys about the process and the concept of the AFL now on 4 occasions in 37 matches involving the Crows, the past 37 matches, on 4 occasions they have admitted post the game to errors being made within the final stages of those 4 respective matches. Does it assist the cause or does it open up the criticism that, well, if you're going to make a comment on the Isaac Rankin mark and non-free kick, what about that decision at the 2-minute mark of the second quarter where it was just not there?
No, I'm okay with it. I think they need to because it's better than nothing because it is going to be what everyone's going to talk about on the fans, social media, us on all the shows. We're going to talk about those incidents late in games that decide it. So I think it's okay for the AFL to just come out and clarify it so that it sort of does stop all the noise around it. I get what others are saying. Well, if you do that, you've got to do them all. But nobody's caring about a free kick in the third quarter or first quarter. These ones that are the big talking points, I actually don't. I'd rather them come out and say something than say nothing.
I agree with that for what it's worth too. I feel that the way the media obviously rightly addresses these stories, it took the air out of it straight away. And then the Crows then responded after it and it went away pretty quickly.
It's like when you're getting an argument with your partner or something, you say sorry and you sort of say, and then it's meant to sort of put it to bed.
What's that word you said? Sorry, I was right. But I like also what the Crows came out and did as well, because you do have a responsibility to your fans to show that you were irate and upset. It's cost them another game. So, no issues with it either way.
Just unlucky, isn't it, though, for Adelaide, that it's been them on and it's just,
4 times.
It's just it's about bad luck with players. Sometimes clubs just get bad luck. Saints know all about bad luck. Sometimes just get unlucky. That's all.
You need to have to grab the ball.
The hitting of the
Never
post,
seen a ball bounce like that ever.
like the Benny Keys one that cost you a spot in finals, and then the next couple of years after.
Well, Sam Draper hatching the football last year in gather round, and then you had the Dawson hit in the
Punch in the
head.
face.
Like
a bit like
35
players.
out.
Some players are prone to it.
Yeah.
Some clubs are the
Just
same.
unlucky.
Yeah, like the Saints.
AFLPA, we wouldn't normally talk about political matters of this nature on this show in this segment, but given you've had Paddy Dangerfield as the player representative on the committee standing down this year, Darcy Moore taking over from him, and then bowled out of the blue yesterday, Paul Marsh also choosing to stand down and returning to the cricket fray. There's a lack now of, I suppose, continuity, clearly, and I'd say a lack of clout or an established clout in that space right now. I don't doubt Darcy Moore's ability to act the way that Dangerfield did, but without the CEO in place now and with a new president, so to speak, it's going to be I suppose a testing time for this group.
They're going to be hard to replace. 2 really strong leaders, both Marsh and Dangerfield, as the players' reps. Paul Marsh, I think, did a terrific job. I was on the board for a little bit there late in the career. I thought Paul Marsh did a wonderful job for the players, negotiating the CBAs and a lot of complex issues, particularly through COVID. So, they're going to be big shoes to fill. So the AFLPA are going to have to put some serious thought into what they want their next leader to look like and how they want to represent the players going forward in what will be some more tricky circumstances in the future with CBAs and whether there's going to continue to be the money that they were able to get this last deal and of course, the women's football as well.
And Days, the Noah Bolter situation, we know that now under the ban that the Richmond Footy Club gave him, which had the imprimatur of the AFL, it is now expired. I raise that because the court case, the Corowa local court, will in 2 weeks' time, after 2 more Richmond matches, determine the actual sanction officially. He has pled guilty for assault, and I'll let the courts play it out. Initially, the AFL, I feel, was being clever/cute in giving the 4 weeks, or the Richmond Footy Club giving the 4 weeks, because that did take in the time frame in which the court was intended to deal with it. Now, it has pushed out by 2 weeks, that time frame. It leaves 2 matches of football. Now, I can tell you on Monday night when I made calls on this, there was an intent for Noah Bolter to play. We are now talking at 10:19 on Wednesday morning.
Has that shifted?
Yeah, I think there's wavering on this as we speak. Now,
they hearing the noise? You reckon they've read the room a little bit?
I reckon they've read the room.
If I'm a sponsor of the Richmond Footy Club, I'm not wanting a player who's about to go before the courts for a serious charge to be playing and representing what I am on the back of your jumper. Yep. And I don't think that's a harsh statement. That's just the reality of the world we live in. You are representing everything that comes with the football club and who they support and the sponsors who put in big cash. For 2 more weeks, this has become pretty messy on both parts, I think.
In saying that, so we're all talking about the next 2 weeks, and I agree he shouldn't play. But then what happens when he does get his sentence? And let's say it's not jail, but it's some significant penalty.
Yep.
Are we then comfortable with him playing 5 days later?
The way it works, Joey, and I think it's a fair question, I think we'd be less uncomfortable if I could use that phrase. And look, the AFL is about optics and image, and I get all that. They also, as of Monday, as best I could read it, had decided to not intervene. But there's other ways they can send a message.
Officially,
And there could be a phone call made between the club and the AFL, and that could come from Richmond to the AFL even. But they can not necessarily rule with a statement accompanying it, but you just might find that Bolter's not selected. But that has changed, and I needed to time code it. As I said, 10:19, Wednesday, I'm talking now. It's definitely changed from what was a sentiment on Monday night where he was going to be picked and playing.
Seems like a bit of a miss, though, because if it was 10 weeks down the track, the case, and it was going to happen that way, you go, if he's found not guilty or whatever it is, whatever the punishment comes on the back of it, you could somewhat make a better case. The fact that it's 2 weeks, the easy thing would have been, we're waiting to the court and then...
And he has since pled guilty to the charge. At the time of the deliberation on the AFL in Richmond, he said he was going to defend it, but admit to certain aspects, and then the video came out as well. So the actual boundaries have changed even in that time frame.
Well, with or without Noah Bolter, the Tigers take on Fremantle at Barossa Valley on Sunday. We'll get you around 5 predictions.
Swirling
and
the
your
middle,
bottles of, was it 707 soon? But up next, it is fair dinkum or Fugazi on Triple M Footy's Midweek Rub. Well, I think we already know the answer to this one. Joey Montagna. Adelaide are the unluckiest club in recent history.
That's Fugazi. They've been unlucky. They're not as unlucky as the Saints. I can go through a timeline. Started 1971, went through to 1997.
Said recent history.
2009, 2010. St Kilda, unluckiest club ever.
Or Damien 1971.
Yeah, there's a story about the finals playing against the Hawks, and then there was a pivotal moment. The Hawks went on to win 13 flags from that point.
What was the pivotal moment?
There was some illness.
Control.
There was something that went. And
The VFL admitted it the next day.
Descent free kick.
15-metre penalty.
Damo, the Crows are lucky in one way, though. They have the best key forward mix in the league.
Fair dinkum. Yeah, loving what they're doing with the 3 bigs up there and the Thilthorpe revolution, whatever you want to, exploding into among the best players in the game. Texan just still being able to have a role, play a role, have impact as he did last week. And you've obviously got Fogarty just as part of that as well. Curtin coming through, Rankin moving in and out of it. It's you're probably right there. Fair dinkum.
Speaking of key forwards, Daisy Thomas, Jesse Hogan's 9 goals won't be the biggest individual tally kicked against the Eagles this season.
I'm going to go with fair dinkum. The Blues this week. Is there a chance Harry Mackay comes back in? He played the VFL on the weekend. If there's ever a game where you just want to potentially find some form in the manner of which Jesse Hogan did on the weekend in the delivery and a couple of cheap ones, is this the play? I'm not sure if he's going to or not, but Charlie's kicked a big bag against them before. I wouldn't hate to see that.
The West Coast Eagles games are almost the common medal deciders. Who can kick the most against the Eagles gives you the best chance of winning a Coleman. So it's
you're
Charlie's
right about that.
chance.
I mean, Hogan's had it a couple of times.
In the previous
Nick
years.
Larkey had a bag
I reckon
when he
Charlie
got the
Curnow a few years ago kicked a big couple of bags against West Coast. So.
Joey, unfortunately, he got injured on Sunday, but Lockie Schultz has found his feet at Collingwood.
I'll say fair dinkum because I don't want Collingwood fans to
Why
jump
do you
all over
hate
me.
You didn't want to, did you?
Well,
The
he
boys
really
said it all,
played.
mate.
He's played a couple of good games this year, and unfortunately, he's injured. So he was starting to really find his feet.
I shouldn't have asked you. I should have asked
Hopefully,
someone
when
who
he
likes
comes
him.
back.
You've only answered this in a
Hang
way
on.
that you think
have another go.
appeases you to
Jesus.
Collingwood.
Hey,
Okay.
Daisy Thomas, unfortunately got injured during the week, but Lockie Schultz has found his feet at Collingwood.
Yeah, that's fair income, Rabsy. He's been outstanding. Really good small forward craft. Hit the scoreboard on the weekend. Good pressure. Tackling. He's a really important part. He's going to miss, of course, but I love what they're doing down there. So he's a big watch. He's really found his feet, Joey.
He has, Daisy. I agree with
I'm
you.
going to stick with you because you missed a positive, Daisy. The Suns' pink gather-round jumper is better than the actual jumper this year.
Fair income. I love it. I love it. I was driving the bus to get on board with the Gold Coast Suns this year. I love everything they're doing. The pink, it's not a real pink. It's sort of a citrusy
sunset
pink. Yeah,
pink.
it's gorgeous. So I'm all for it. I'll be buying a jumper. I probably won't be wearing it. But no, I love it. So fair income, I think it was the answer to that.
Damo, Brisbane should be the bookies' flag favourites.
Fair dinkum on the back of Will Day going down for the Hawks. They are officially the favourites. Brisbane's second favourites. They're reigning premier. Their only concern is to how they cover Joe Danaher, and at a 4-zip
Haven't done much
scoreline
wrong, have
right
they?
now, they're doing it.
They haven't done much wrong.
Joey, the Cats have found another one in Connor O'Sullivan.
Well, yes, they have. That's fair income. He was a high draft pick.
Pick 'em, yes.
He was a high draft pick. He's a start. No, he looks like he's going to be a magnificent player. Really, really like him. So, yep, they've got another beauty.
Geez, they're good. I did this last night. Some of the players they've got, Stengel obviously came across, Baslenko rejuvenated, Close.
Closer Myers,
Humphreys.
and Stewart. Yeah,
Humphreys
Humphreys.
is
And how
star.
good's there now? They've got young back. Like everyone talks about their age. So they're young backline for the next 10 years. You've got DeConing, Connor O'Sullivan, Lawson Humphreys to build around. It's pretty
And
good.
Guthrie's still young enough.
And
too, isn't
Zach
he?
Guthrie's
and
still young
Henry's
enough.
injured.
Yeah, and Jack Henry.
Humphrey was playing twos in the waffle for fun.
It's
And
unbelievable.
now he's a gun. Incredible.
Daisy, Zak Butters needs to meditate pre-game to mitigate his aggression to avoid any more fines.
Fedding a Fugazi, that's bullshit, Rabsy. We want him going in there. He's the best.
50
because,
grand.
On edge.
Good on
Hey,
him.
plays on
keep
edge.
going. You'll make heaps more than that. That's bloody pocket change. We love the way he does it. And I love on the weekend when he went in and stuck up for his mate Rosie, comes to the bench, his shirt's ripped, and Kenny gives him a rub on there and says, bloody good on you.
Damo, Ross's coaching over the past few weeks proves the Saints were right to quietly extend his contract in the off-season.
Fair dinkum. Yeah, I'm a Ross, the boss man from way back. And while it was a bad start to the year in that first game, it was actually quite horrendous. He's managed to quickly turn it around, and he's doing what he needed to do this year is to make it appealing for free agents and out of contract players, and that's all he can do, and he's absolutely doing it right now.
Joey, you are heading on this bus. The Triple M bus back from the Barossa Valley might make a few pit stops on the way back to Adelaide.
It's going to be like a Bucks party, you reckon? Just playing the
Cans
music.
rolling down the front.
Stop, got to get out, do a little piddle on the
Who's
side of
on
the
it?
road. Yeah, I think can we
All
say
the
the
big
boss?
names.
Of course you wouldn't
Starts
say
with you and Giles. He's at the front of the bus. He'll be handing out the.
You'll be throwing the
He'll
cans
be
to
handing
West
out
End.
the cans.
It's part of the
Jack
experience.
Everin, I think Jack Everin will be on it. There'll be a few of us. Chew Man.
A slow
geez.
drive
Chew Man.
back.
Stay away from Chew down the back.
Swing past a couple of wineries.
Yes.
Oh, outstanding.
Well, just on that, Daisy Thomas, Chew Man needs a chaperone in Adelaide for gather round.
Yeah, and a taser. Somebody, his chaperone needs a taser just in case, just to sort of calm him down a
Is his
touch.
finger still black from
It
2 years
hasn't
ago?
recovered.
Never
Yeah.
been the same.
Yeah, I think he was going to Daniel Chick it off.
Damo, on the back of this interview on the Rush Hour yesterday, Darcy Fogarty should be hired by Tourism South Australia to promote Adelaide.
Sell Adelaide to us, my friend.
Well,
Yes, Dust. We've dragged you down to our level. Perfect.
Couldn't think of one thing, Damo.
He did follow
It was
up
like
with,
it was such a hard question.
No, he followed up with golf courses and bars.
come over and figure it out for yourself.
Or get a tattoo on your bicep, like I've done. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, fair dinkum. Was it fair dinkum? Was it a question?
I don't even know.
What about the tattoo he's got?
I
I love
know,
it.
it's been
But
Darcy
it's
Property.
not permanent. I fell for the initial story.
yeah.
Oh, apparently it's not permanent. Is that right?
No, it's
ruin
not. It's
it.
like your henna sort of style.
Right.
Oh, I
yeah.
thought it was.
Don't ruin it. It's, I'm a journo. Try to get to the bottom of it.
Finally, Daisy, we don't really like
Essendon broken story, and it's not a real Wow. How the mighty have fallen.
Finally, Daisy, I know you're a big man on politics.
Yes.
After sconning a cameraman, Peter Dutton should ask Ryan Myers for some kicking lessons.
Yeah, that's fair dinkum. I'm not sure why the pollies do this stuff. Was it Elbow or ScoMo that absolutely shit next to
ScoMo.
little kids?
Yeah.
Squashed them.
Drove him
I
into
think
the ground.
Boris Johnson did too as
Yeah,
well.
just stay clear.
Just
Stay clear.
awkward.
John
And just
Howard with the cricket.
The worst part was he's sitting there Dutton afterwards going, "Oh, I'll buy you a beer, mate." And you see the cameraman going, "Not sure if I want to do that."
The ball drop was just all sorts.
Inside, went left.
Round 5 predictions for Gather Round are coming up next. This is Triple M Footy's Midweek Rub. Joey, Daisy and Damo. All roads lead to Gather Round in South Australia this weekend for round 5. You can catch every single game on Triple M and the Listener app starting tomorrow night with the Thursday rub ahead of Adelaide versus Geelong at the Adelaide Oval. Jack Heverin, Kate McCarthy, Isaac Smith and the Merc driving. Jay-Z Clark will be there. And if you see any of the Triple M footy people over in Adelaide, make sure you stop them for selfies. JB loves it. Damo loves it. Daisy loves it.
Come and say g'day.
If you're Collingwood fans, come say g'day to Joey.
Chief loves it.
Chief absolutely loves it. So let's start with Adelaide versus Geelong, Joey Montagna.
This is going to be a great game. I'm going to already off the top go my outside. I'm going to give the Cats a big chance. I know Adelaide are flying. We love the way they're playing. If Rankin is out, even more so. But I'm going to still stick fat with Geelong. And in a tough round, this is just going to be my outsider.
I'm following you in here with the Cats. I've got no reason, despite those 2 losses before last week, to jump off them yet. And I thought they got their mojo back last week and they'll build themselves up for this one. Not confident in that tip, but I'm tipping the Cats.
I'm all on board with you. 3 from 3 across the board.
Wow.
I think they just had an easier of the 2 games. I think we'll see little dips from sides who played high intensity. It was hot weather up there, that Crows v the Suns
Short
game.
break.
Yeah, the Cats get an extra day. It was more of a sit and steer job, so the Cats for me.
They've got those 3 key forwards just quickly, though. And Henry's out. Koladashny won't play. Buse is injured.
I think Blitzarves will come back, and I think they'll keep Blitzarves, De Koning, and young Connor O'Sullivan as the 3 talls to handle them, and they'll keep Reece Stanley in the side. That's how I'm thinking as we timecode, that they'll probably structure up the team.
Collingwood versus Sydney back at the Adelaide Oval on a Friday night. Damo?
Going for the second of the first 2 matches. Upsets here in tipping Sydney. I just think the omissions or the unavailability, I should say, of De Goey and Schultz is just going
And Houston.
And Houston, obviously, with the suspension, is going to be problematic. I know the Swans have got a longer unavailability list with Goulden and Papley at the head of that, Mills as well. And there's 6 other players who would be in their best 24 to 25. But I like what they did last week, City. They were very methodical against North, and I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah, I'm really not sure. This is a couple of games where you look at it and you go either way. I think I'll just stick with the Pies purely on the fact that I played for them.
And I'm I'm sticking with my boys too. I'm sticking with the Pies.
My
boys. Damo made a very good point. He almost got me to change my mind, but no,
same.
I can't jump off my boys. I'm not sticking with the
I
Pies.
will reiterate that you were a Collingwood fan growing up.
Loved
You
it.
loved Nathan
Had bucks
Buckley
on the wall.
and Damien Monkhorst as
Yeah,
well. And
that big monkey in the bath. Yes.
North Melbourne versus the Gold.
Oh,
Didn't meet him in the bath. I just got his autograph when he was in the bath.
I wasn't going to go there, but my ears did.
thanks for clarifying.
Scotty Russell.
Tony Francis.
North Melbourne versus Gold Coast at the Barossa Valley.
Your boys, Damo.
Hey, Damo.
Everybody on board the North train. The Gold Coast Suns should be winning this. I'm not sure by how much. I think, again, North will respond and they need to. But this should be one if the Gold Coast Suns are to continue. They just find a way to win.
Yeah, Damo, the kiss of death. As soon as he brought out the kangaroo scarf, they went back to their old ways, and I'm tipping Gold Coast.
So am I.
Carlton versus West Coast. This really is a massive clash in terms of Michael Voss and in terms of what West Coast want to prove that they're sort of improving as well, Joey.
No, Carlton just can't lose. Carlton will not lose this game. They cannot. They just cannot lose this game.
Oh, no.
No, they can't. They can't.
Is the Oracle?
They can't.
No,
Cannot lose.
the Oracle's got little...
It's the easiest call I'll ever make. Carlton will not lose this game.
I'm with you. I hope you're correct. But every Carlton fan you see between now and
They're
then...
morals.
It's not a given, Joey.
They are morals.
It's not a given.
They shouldn't be losing it.
No, they can't.
They were
they
in front
can.
against the reigning premier 3 weeks ago, West Coast.
Surely.
You get nervous already.
Yeah,
aren't you?
they're starting to sweat. They can't.
Carlton, but nowhere near the confidence levels of you.
Again, they just have to win. I don't care how. I don't care by how much. They just have to win.
This could be game of Saturday. Western Bulldogs versus Brisbane at Norwood Oval. Damo.
The configuration of this venue is going to be intriguing.
Yeah.
It has been in the 2 years of Gather Round. I would love to have seen these two teams at Adelaide Oval, not to take away from Norwood because I love the environment down there. I've been there a couple of times and love it. But yeah, what a game. Brisbane, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Bulldogs were able to stifle them.
I will stick with the Brisbane Lions. I really like what they're doing, just finding a way to win. They're banking wins early. They're at half pace in that last quarter against the Tigs. Would have loved to, same thing. Carlton, West Coast, chuck that out at Norwood and you can go and watch that and then bring this over to the main stadium. The Brisbane Lions, again, not a whole lot of confidence, but think they win.
Sam Darcy v Brisbane. If he can kick another 5 and do what he's been doing, it gives the Bulldogs a chance. But you have to go with Brisbane.
Is it a smaller ground, Norwood, in terms of
Smaller
length?
ground, a straight wing and a brick fence.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
All of it.
No, that's what you want.
That's what you need.
Melbourne versus Essendon back at Adelaide Oval on Saturday night.
No confidence. The D's for me. They just have to find a way to win. Sometimes in this game, you just look at it and go, I don't care what it is, our form, we've been crap. You just need to find a way to win. And both Collingwood and Melbourne, that's their entirety of their game plan this week.
I'm basing my judgment on this the same way, Days. Melbourne. They had moments against Geelong, but they're only moments. But I just feel they will have more moments than Essendon will.
No, I think Essendon have to win this. Even as bad as Essendon are defending, surely they can't allow Melbourne to start scoring. Melbourne cannot score. Melbourne cannot score. And Essendon are pretty good on offense. So I think the Bombers just got to be have some ability to defend a little bit.
Zipping 5 for the D's.
I think so.
Oh.
I think they might fall. I think there's starting to see some cracks, I think.
Ooh.
Wow.
Sticking with you, Joey. Richmond versus Fremantle back at the Barossa Valley on Sunday.
Dockers should take care of business. Yep.
Dockers.
St Kilda versus the Giants at Norwood Oval. That's actually a very juicy game, Damo.
Yeah, I wasn't brave enough to pick them last week against Port, and I thought they were a chance. I'm not brave enough to pick the Saints this week against GWS. I think they're a chance, but Giants for me.
Did we both say that the Saints were a massive show last week?
I think we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, well done.
I was keen on them. You going Saints this week?
Did you
I'm
tip
not,
them?
no.
No, you didn't tip them, though, did you?
I think I
I
did.
think
Oh, you did?
I think,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're roughy. I won't. I'll be going with the GWS Giants.
I think my memory serves me correct. Last year in this game, Saints ran the Giants within 4 points. They almost stole it really late. So I think they'll be confident with the Giants handball game. They can get after them and pressure them. I'm not game enough either to tip them.
Jack Steele back?
Jack Steele should be back.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think the Giants just a bit too much class, but it'll be close.
And finally, the massive game that is Port Adelaide versus Hawthorn, the culmination of the third gather round.
Here we go.
Adelaide Oval Days.
Daisy.
Let's roll it back to 1990 and
Yeah,
just
bit of
before the
Biffo
bounce,
spice.
responsibly, of course,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we
of
have to say that, but also just rip in. I want shirts.
You want
ripped.
Zak Butters in there, don't you?
I want Zak Butters to walk up to Guinea at the start and suplex him, and then somebody else to come flying in. It's a spectacle, and I am going to tip Port Adelaide.
Oh.
Season on the line sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I'm not, because I haven't tipped Hawthorn. I tip Hawthorn.
Because you want Port to win.
Yeah.
Because you've done.
Yes.
Why do you hate Hawthorn so much?
Why do you hate
who was that little turd that
Yeah, I know. You
texted
said
in?
you keep tipping
Finn
against
Willow.
Hawthorn.
Yeah, Willow. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't care who wins. I just hope I just hope there's
Well,
spice. I
that's
just
probably
want to
more the
see
answer I was gonna
I want to
give.
see Zak Butters steam coming out of his ears and just go mad. Imagine Zak Butters and Sicily running into each other.
how
That'd be a good one.
And Kenny and
And
Sam.
then Pal Pepper come.
yes.
This is going to be good.
But Hawks, if I had to tip.
Sorry, Hawks for me too, but it's not going to surprise me if it's the other way.
Well,
I'm
you
not
can,
sure what I tipped in the end.
No, I'm not either. You confused me.
Just a good game.
well, you can catch every single game across Gather Round on Triple M and the Listener app starting tomorrow night, Thursday, right ahead of Adelaide versus Geelong at the Adelaide Oval. Jack Heverin, Kate McCarthy, Isaac Smith, and JZ Clark. And JB will be calling that game on the M's as well.